Man, I'm gonna break my monitor, I swear.
Hey! We're recording the podcast! Shut up!
Good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is Morning Somewhere for February 5th, 2025. I said 5th, it's the 4th. My name is Burnie Bird, sitting right over there. He ruined the intro for everyone else. It's Blaine Gibson, everybody. Blaine Gibson.
Hello. Thank you. All right, bring down the applause, guys. Come on, you're driving to work. Can I tell you something?
No, this is a podcast. Right?
Okay,
Don't
great,
discuss
great.
anything. Ever.
I had to call Chris like 30, 45 minutes ago because I was like, did you record with Burnie in person or is this remote? And he was like, no, he's in town. And I was like, oh God. So I drove here.
Oh shit.
I didn't realize we were doing this in person. Great to see you.
Great to see you as well. So I don't ever do the remote thing because I can't. I went back and listened recently to the last podcasts I did with Jeff and Gus and Gavin at Rooster Teeth when we were all stuck at home during COVID. That was the only time I had done a remote one. And it sounds okay. But it always felt like too many pauses for my brain. Yeah,
there's definitely an error because, you have to make sure you're not cutting people off. And it's microseconds of latency, but that it builds, it adds up. And you can tell at the end when it's like, oh, these guys are not in the same room, bouncing the same energies and stuff. We're in Stinky Dragon going through and listening to past episodes of Tales from Stinky Dragon, our first campaign. And then we're making a reaction podcast called Second Wind about those episodes where we're like, giving context for what we were doing at the time of the recording and all that stuff. I'm going through and editing all of those right now. And just the pauses and everything, like, I think sometimes you need to leave them in there for natural, like, rhythm of conversation. But also sometimes, like, I want to punch Chris through the screen because he has long dramatic pauses and he kind of eats his words and stuff. Gus also has like really nasally breaths. I'm learning like all the quirks of my friends in their audio recording.
Who edits it? Does Micah edit all the audio as well?
He'll edit the main podcast, but these like secondary things like me, Chris, Gus, we're all editing those.
My thing is, and this is even going back to before we did podcasts, we did commentaries, but the real thing was the most podcast-esque thing that we did in the early days of Rooster Teeth was going to conventions and going on panels. And even like my ex, Jordan, when she would come to conventions with us, she would see us doing the panels. She goes, why don't you guys just do this? I go, why don't we just do panels all day? She goes, well, no, you guys are doing like almost like a stand-up routine and everything. So it was the only thing we did that was like that. And I learned doing that, I hate any amount of silence. Yeah. Like if you have an entertainment product and someone's talking, if there's like a 2-second pause afterwards, I've had to train myself to be okay with that because I go listen to other podcasts and I'm just like, oh my God, this feels so goddamn slow to me. Yeah. And I got to retrain my brain. I'm in the process. It's like a 20-year process of retraining my brain to be okay with pauses.
I had not considered that. Yeah. You guys would have been doing panels before the RT podcast. And that must have been like people's only exposure to you guys' personalities before, because you're doing Red versus Blue or you're doing like meet and greets at conventions for RVB.
Yeah, the first 8 years pretty much. Achievement Hunter started about season 7 of Red versus Blue, which let's just call it year 7.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't a thing. Like it wasn't what it was, there's all different opinions of when that started, but objectively it did take a while to like get rolling, you know, when it was just Jack and Jeff. But up until that point, the only person really before RT Shorts who had appeared on camera was Gus because he was in that
Apple Mac versus. It's funny. You guys made that, and I made a video parodying that parody of the Mac versus PC thing in high school.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'd totally forgotten about it, but we were doing. It was back when swine flu was a thing.
Swine flu, yeah.
And I was in high school at the time, and I remember it was like swine flu versus cold, and basically like. We wanted to make an informational video for the high school to kind of help people understand the differences. I'm the swine flu versus I'm the flu. And so I made this thing and they were like, we were pitching ideas and I was like, what if we do like Mac versus PC but a comedy? And it was totally just a rip of I guess Gus and was it Jeff? Was he in that?
No, just Gus.
Was it just
Gus? That was it. Yeah, we were parodying the Apple Switch ads, which were an actual first party campaign by Apple at the time. Yeah. So, and in high school, this leads into discussion about world at large right now because the Super Bowl is coming up this week.
Uh-huh.
So I said, I
big
thought to
game.
myself, sorry,
I'm trying
the
to
big
cover your
game.
bases, man. I don't want you to get sued.
I love. Do you know the name of this one too? What the Roman numerals?
Isn't it licks or something?
Licks. Yeah, Super Bowl licks. And I thought, oh, perfect. Blaine's coming over so we can bro out and talk about the Super Bowl. You walked in and go, dude, I don't know shit about football.
I continue your story. I can talk about why, but yeah, I am just the least. Workout. Love playing sports. I hate watching them. My dad's a football coach, and it's just like I've been around it my entire life.
Yep.
Not for me.
So your dad's a Texas high school football coach.
Yes.
That's a thing. Like, I wonder if people outside of Texas realize like how much that's a thing. I would say, that's the equivalent of like, you go back like 40, 50 years, being the preacher's daughter. Like you being the son of the Texas high school football coach. That's a prestigious thing within a small community.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's a stereotyped role because it's also an offshoot of the Nepo baby. So like, you're getting game time, play time that other kids aren't because you're the coach's son. I was not great at sports. I was fine at it. I remember my dad was not pissed off, but when I started getting into shape, it was like in college, and I was like, sports was behind me at that point. And then I was like, oh, weightlifting's fun, and people look at me when I weightlift. And my dad was like, why didn't you care this much about your fitness when you were playing sports versus now? And I was like, well, I wasn't dating people then, you know?
Yeah, just looking at you, I'm trying to think, like, the way you're built now is how most people would know you. But you've shown me photos, like you were a heavier dude in high school.
Yeah.
Like, looking at you now, I'd say you're built like a linebacker is what I would say. But what did you play in high school?
I played center and offensive tackle.
I bet most people could imagine center's usually a hoss. Like,
Yeah, they're big boys.
yeah, I mean, you're obviously a big guy, but these are like
Different.
You know, they're like slabs,
Yeah.
basically, is the way to say it.
Well, in freshman year, they made us play both sides of the ball, and I loved defense, and I was actually really good at it. Like I was like stopping touchdowns and like making actual plays and sacking and stuff like that. And then my dad was like, okay, next year you're gonna have to decide which side of the ball you want to play. And I was like, at that point, I'd already moved high schools for him from another school district, and I was like, if I'm like here because you want to coach me, I might as well be an offensive lineman because why else am I here?
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to play defense and get coached by some other guy, like what are we doing here? Why did I move school districts? So then I made the decision to go offensive line, and then I just got my ass beat. It was just terrible. It was like so undersized.
How does it work as a center? Because you hike the ball between your legs and then immediately stand up and get punched in the face, basically.
Yeah.
And you do that how many downs in a game? Like 60 downs in a game?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, if you're A team or your varsity. No, that the advantage there though is that because you're hiking the ball, you're the first one to know when it's going. So
True.
you get like a couple of milliseconds there. But yeah, no, for the most part, like I remember, you know, they run different defenses and stuff like that. And if they have a nose tackle, which is a dude that's literally right on top of the center, those are the worst weeks practicing and preparing for a nose tackle defense because those guys are just like, you snap the ball, you're worried about getting a perfect spiral to the QB if you're deep snapping or if it's a shotgun play, and then you're just immediately getting popped. It's a blast.
Yeah, it's like a sumo wrestling match every single down.
Yeah.
Just like short bursts of that. I don't know how those guys are even standing at the end of a game, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't.
Modern padding and stuff like that. But I do know you wanted to talk about Super Bowl licks.
Right.
And I know that where do you stand on the Chiefs? Because I know that's a very divisive subject right now.
As a fan of the University of Texas Longhorns and the Los Angeles Dodgers, who everyone attacks because they're on top and they're cheaters and shitty and they just throw money at problems, let me say, fuck the Chiefs.
Okay, all right.
Because I'm outside of it, and this is the team I get to make fun of for like getting calls from the ref. This is the Kansas City Chiefs, and particularly the quarterback, are known for almost like kind of flopping a little bit.
Yeah.
And drawing calls and things like that. It feels like European football invading American football. And the American football fans hate it.
It's that's the biggest thing that I keep seeing. And I've watched like a couple of games, but that is the biggest complaint that I hear is that the refs are just like oozing over Mahomes, and like he's just doing like really snake-like stuff to, you know, get them like a flag and stuff like that. It's like that takes away from the spirit of the sport, you know, and it's not as fun, you know?
Yeah, using the refs or using the fouls, I get it. It's just good strategy.
Yeah.
Because it'll win, but it's just at some point you are there as an entertainer to entertain people.
Right.
You know, and it's like you don't ruin the whole sport because you want to win.
Yeah. What was that one dude? Sorry, this is like not at all related to the current day sports, but there's a guy who's like an MLB player and a I think he played for like the Raiders.
Bo Jackson?
Bo Jackson. I miss dudes like that. Just like genetic freaks.
Yeah.
That could like do everything.
Deion Sanders was like that too. Now Deion Sanders is coaching the Colorado Buffaloes in college football.
I met Deion Sanders.
Did you really?
Yeah, I sold him luggage. He used to live up in North Texas.
Wait a minute. You sold luggage?
Uh-huh.
Where did you sell luggage? I sold luggage.
Samsonite.
You sold luggage for Samsonite.
Yeah, there was an outlet mall in Allen, Texas. It was unfortunately the place where they had that shooting a couple of years ago, which is like a whole other thing because I was like there. Like in town visiting, and we were like, "We want to go to the outlet mall?" And I was like, "Eh."
So you weren't there working when that happened.
No,
you were just visiting.
No. That was like a couple of years ago. I was working there when I was in like high school and college. This like huge, fancy looking dude in like a fur coat came in one time, and then my coworker at the time, Josh, nudged me. He's like, "That's Deion Sanders." And I was like, "No way!" And like, dude ended up walking away with like. You know, in movies when they have like the famous person and they have like a whole posse of people carrying their baggage and stuff like that. It was that amount of baggage. It was like a profound amount of luggage.
He probably needed the luggage to carry the stuff he bought from all the other outlet stores. Like he went to the Polo store and the Nike store and everything. You guys have a big piece of merch coming out. What day of this week is it coming out?
I think today.
Yeah, today.
Yeah. So when this episode's released, it'll for sure be out for pre-order. So we paired with U2's, which is like they make... Dude, they have every IP under the sun. They have like everything. And they decided to make a Kyborg plushie, which is my character from Tales from the Sneaky Dragon.
He's a one-armed archer.
Yeah. He's great. It's just me, but doing like a slightly surfer accent.
I fucking love Kyborg so much, man.
And it's out. It's really cute. And you can pre-order them now. And the thing is I don't know how much of this I can say, but we need to sell a certain amount. Otherwise they might not do the rest of the group.
That's fair. I totally get it. So this is like almost like a market test, right?
Yeah.
Can you say how many units you have to sell? Who cares? If you could buy a unit, that would help Blaine.
Yeah. We need to sell at least a certain amount because then they'll let us do the rest of them and then maybe future campaigns and stuff like that. But also like, here's the thing. I've always wanted to be an action figure. And I remember whenever we did, God, what was that? Genlock? I was like, I could do it. Sinclair, the guy that I voiced, he could be an action figure. And then that didn't happen. But I got a plushie and I'll take the plushie, you know?
So we had McFarlane action figures.
I wanted to ask you about this.
For Laser Team.
Yeah.
And they came in and we got them. I'm like, oh, really cool. And Colton Dunn, who's been on Superstore, he's now on the Recruit on Netflix. He was in the main cast of Laser. He was on the Laser Team. Yeah, he had the boots, and we were going out to L.A. to meet him. And I thought, oh, let me grab Colton's action figure, and I'll show it to him and say, like, let him know this is what we're planning to do. And his was funny because it had like a little accessory, was a thing of Cheese Whiz, or
I thought it was a hot dog.
The spray cheese.
Yeah,
and the hot dog too, because it was a bit from the movie, a scene he was in. And we went out to lunch, and I had my bag there and everything. We're talking, blah 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 blah. And I go, oh fuck, I got this thing. And I go, here, check this out. And I hand him this thing. Dude, it was one of the best moments I've ever had in my career because I just did it offhand because we had so much merch at Rooster Teeth. I handed it to him and he jumped up from the table and he was like so excited. And it was like, he goes, I have an action figure. He was like, I've always dreamed about this. And he had this incredibly wholesome, genuine moment. And I was like, man, I was totally taking this for granted. I was not prepared for that. I was so happy for that.
Yeah. No,
it was really cool.
That's like, I think, because, kids like us, like we grew up with action figures. I had my He-Mans and I had my G.I. Joes. So like seeing yourself as an action figure, that is like crazy. But I'm buying like 5 units and I'm going to give them to my nieces and nephews because I think that's going to be pretty dope.
No, man. Yeah.
So how did you feel getting an action figure? Were you just kind of whatever at that point?
It was really cool. But in that moment, I do have to acknowledge I had become a little bit jaded to it because I had like bobbleheads and like figures and plushies too and stuff like that, to that point. And so by the time I got to action figure, I thought it was cool. It was associated with McFarlane action figures because that's what I liked as a kid. And those were the real ones, you know? Besides the little plastic Kenner ones we would get. Did Kenner make anything besides the Star Wars action figure?
I think just Star Wars put them on the map. I want to say that I think Kenner might have done He-Man.
Did they?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
While we're talking about Star Wars, though, can we bring up something from our past?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
I have to bring this up because I need closure on something. We forgot to get closure, and it's important that we get it. I may or may not have played a prank. I violated a personal rule. I would never wanted to do hidden camera stuff at Rooster Teeth.
Yeah.
It's very personal to me. I didn't want people to be in a work environment where people were hiding cameras and recording stuff. So that was a rule we had. And we had to bend it for when we did a prank on you.
Mm-hmm.
I say bend it. We absolutely broke it. Where we had an early screening of Star Wars for you. We convinced you that you were going to see an early screening of Episode 7. It was a huge prank with like a theater full of people and everything.
You guys rented a theater at the Alamo, and hired extras.
And we shot a fake version of Episode 7 with Zach Anner.
Yeah. God, did I think I might have said something, but I knew from the opening crawl that something was off.
Oh, I would imagine you did. Like, you were so excited. I said, you're seen as one of the top influencers in the nation, so the Lucasfilm wants you to see this and everything. And you were so excited. And it was so.
Dude.
Then we pranked Chris in an equally or maybe even higher production level, like where a SEAL team came in.
It was, which that's also funky because it was like a version of swatting, but it wasn't. But yeah, that was Chris had pitched a movie and you guys were going to go meet with a potential financier. And then come to find out the guy's like a drug dealer.
Right.
You guys are there having your pitch meeting in the middle of a drug bust.
I was so nervous waiting for the
flashbang was the cue.
Oh my God. Yeah. I was waiting for that to happen. I was so mortified. But my heart rate must have been like 140. I'm nervous talking about it. Can you hear my voice?
Yeah.
I get nervous thinking about it.
My heart rate's kind of increasing too, because I just remember the nerves building up to that moment was intense.
So here's my problem. And I need some closure here.
Okay.
No one ever got me back. So there's a triangle here of these pranks. That it's over, right?
Oh,
The company has closed its doors. There's no way. No matter what happens in the future, that's over. Like, that's it. You guys never got me back, and that's all there is to it.
Hey, remember that there was that bobblehead video? Changing subjects just out of the blue. No, nothing. I don't know, Burnie. Anything could happen. We're all still friends.
I gotta stop looking over my shoulder, man. I need to stop.
You're fine. Hey, no hard feelings.
No hard feelings.
Hey, it's fine.
You and I did get to go visit ILM. We went to Lucasfilm because of that video.
I got a lot of sympathy for that, and it worked in my favor. I got to go to Lucasfilm. I got a free PlayStation 4, which was the newest console at the time. That was like Darth Vader themed. EA sent me one. They were like, "Hey, sorry that your friends hate you or something."
What?
You never heard about that?
No.
Yeah, I still got that thing in my office. And then just like any person that I was talking to in a romantic sense at the time was like, "You poor thing. Are you okay?" I'm like,
you okay?
I don't know. I'm a little scarred. Nah, we won't get you back. It'll be fine. I do want to go back though. One of my first videos at Rooster Teeth was the bobblehead video. It was the fight between you and Gus over the iPhone updates, and we were promoting the Gus bobblehead, and so I made a bobbleheaded adventure. I totally stole Jordan Swears' RTAA idea and just like ran with it, and it's great.
It's a community pool of ideas. Hey, I just saw too on social. You just recently directed a short, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
Can we see that anytime soon?
I don't know.
Okay.
That was like something that it was a group of friends. So like long and short of it is I have a bunch of friends that are still in film production, and one of them has worked on Dune. Like she is like a producer on Dune. So she's a big deal. And then my other friend is like 1923 and a bunch of those other like Western productions and stuff like that. He's like on all these TV shows. So it's like them. And then I got Jessica Vasami from RT and Devin Finn from also RT. And they're like actors. And we're all just kind of like, we got some time over the holiday. Like we should just make something. So I wrote a script in like a week.
I love it.
It's not my best, but it was just something like,
it
was an
man.
exercise.
Yeah.
So it was just all of us just wanting to do like a communal thing, just to not only bond, but to also like experiment. Like, is this something that we could do? And it worked, and we have it, and we're still in the process of editing it. Trevor's actually editing it right now. But I think that we want to do like more stuff like that in the future. And I think that there's a core group of friends that would be able to do that. And for nothing. We'd pay nothing for it.
Yeah, one of the things I'm really sad about with Rashid going away is like that access to all of that incredible equipment is just, Dad. Your face says it all right now. It's just like you realize you have to get all that stuff together for a day or two, and it's not just in a giant closet somewhere in the studio and go grab it and check it out and do something cool with it.
Yeah.
Just the loss of opportunity is one of the tough things there.
We're building up, like Stinky Dragon is building up a bunch of equipment because we're still making the puppet videos and we hope to make more of those puppet videos. So I was able to ask the group, I was like, can I borrow the camera? And they're like, just don't, if you break it, you buy it. So we used a lot of the equipment from Stinky Dragon and it was cool. So there's that. But yeah, I mean, like, you'd be surprised with the amount of tech we've worked and built up. Like Chris and I are doing Good Morning from Hell. We got like all of our microphones and stuff, and it's fine. We're building it up.
It's a rebuilding year, as they say.
Yeah.
Like the Dallas Mavericks are about to go through. Audience wants me to talk to you about this Luka trade, where now the Lakers are building this incredible team, and somehow, what's the guy's last name? Luka Doncic?
I couldn't even begin to.
I'm not a basketball fan. They know that about me. I'm not a basketball fan. I know who Luka is because I see him all the time. I just have no idea how to pronounce his last name. Anyway, he's been traded from the Mavericks to the Lakers, and no one in sports can figure out how this trade happened.
What's is Bronny still there? I don't like. That's the only thing I really know about basketball at this point is LeBron is trying to play with his son Bronny.
I think he's still there. I don't know. Basketball goes by the time college football is over. I'm like when basketball starts, I'm just not paying attention, and then I can start paying attention to baseball probably like halfway through the season in the summer, and that's my sports year for me. And then I'm lucky if I'm paying attention to baseball when they're in the World Series and playoffs because college football's already started, and it all depends on how the Dodgers are doing and where the Texas Longhorns are. But basketball is definitely not my sport.
What was the last major sporting event, like live sporting event that you went to?
I went to Texas, Georgia this year. When I was in town. Buddies of mine had some tickets. They've had season tickets forever, and they gave me one of their seats, and it was fantastic. Yeah. And I can't believe how much that stadium has changed. But before that, really long time. How about you?
Probably same, actually. I mean, well, no. Austin FC. We have a soccer team now, or a football club.
Can't do it.
Why not?
I don't know. It's just like I'm not into it. I have weird things where I refused. It's a chip on my shoulder. I don't want to be a fair weather fan. Like when oh God, what's his name? I can't even think now. When we had the huge guy here for Texas basketball, his name is Kevin Durant. I couldn't go and watch Texas basketball because I wasn't a Texas basketball fan, and just because we had Durant on the team, I wasn't going to suddenly act like I'm a huge basketball fan. And my friends are like, just go to the goddamn games. I go, no, can't do it. Can't bring myself to pretend like I've supported basketball this entire time when I know that I haven't.
I think that just you treat it like a movie, It's like you can go to a Marvel movie if you're not following the Marvel universe and be like, oh, I like the Chris Hemsworth. I don't know. I'll just go to this one Thor movie. I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal. Austin FC games, I think, is a fun experience from an Austin native's perspective too, because Q2 Stadium is really cool. It's very modern. It's very pretty. And then all of the restaurants that they have are local Austin things. So they have like Easy Tiger sells pretzels and stuff.
Do they though?
What do you mean?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt you. I don't want to ruin anything about you. You know that they have all local restaurants in the Austin airport, right? Same thing.
Yeah.
It's not run by the restaurants.
What?
It's like a catering company, like Ghost Kitchen thing that does all those.
We're talking about potentially leaving Austin. And
what? You too?
Yeah, man. And I think that the only thing that's stopping me is Home Slice.
Are you serious?
Bro.
That's a pizza place if you're not familiar with Austin.
It's the pizza place. It's white pie with spinach. Ooh, and their margarita pizza. Mamma mia. It's so good.
Can change your life.
What?
Have you guys had one of their subs yet?
Dude, their subs are so overrated.
Oh, you're kidding
Everyone's
me.
like the best subs, and it's like they have the best pizza. Why are you going for their side act?
It's so good. Their sub. What's the best? Well, we're gonna get lost in food here.
What's
a good sub in Austin?
It used to be the place on campus. God.
Say Thundercloud.
No.
Oh.
No, it was, they closed it down. It was like oh man, I had the punch card in my wallet for the longest time. I don't know. It was like this small place that closed down years ago. It was on Dean Keaton. No.
Snarfs?
No. Dude, that's a shitty thing about Austin.
Talking about Jimmy Jones.
Is that, especially on campus, those businesses churn and burn like
sucks,
you wouldn't believe. And it sucks because if I'm trying to connect with a UT student or like a UT alumni, There is like we're speaking different languages because it was a different landscape.
Yeah, I'm like that. I was in Austin 30 years, man. It's like when I walk around by campus, it's like a foreign country to me.
Yeah.
I would have never thought in a billion years that the landmark business by campus, Quackenbush's, which was a coffee shop before coffee shops were a thing, back when coffee shop meant a diner, and it was featured in Slacker, and it was synonymous with Austin, especially the drag, like almost as much as the "Hi, how are you" sticker. You know, and I mean the graffiti. I have
Which
a
they
sticker on
tore
my
down
laptop.
that building but left that wall up, by the way.
Yeah, they left the wall because it's so iconic.
Yeah.
And it just closed one day. Quackenbush is down to one tiny little location, like behind a bakery somewhere.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you. Like, I've never even heard of Quackenbush's. That was like closed long ago.
Huge,
But-
iconic, and gone.
Did
So
you ever
sad.
go to Players, the hamburger place that was over there?
Absolutely. With you want to talk about overrated? The shakes there, incredibly overrated. You were about to talk about the shakes?
No, I always ate just their burger. It was the cheapest, middest burger ever. You just go in there and it was like $5 or $10, and it was just like you get a decent burger, some decent fries. Players, rest in peace.
So I know Matt Hullum from back my university days.
Yeah.
He would never eat there. Because in his words, every time I go to order, I see the guy taking my order scratch his balls. And so that was enough for him. Happened like 2 or 3 times, and so he wouldn't go back there.
Okay, fair.
We're not disparaging this business, by the way, because it's long gone.
Yeah, it's dead. Well, I think they might have done an offshoot food truck, but yeah, who cares?
They were a holdout. Like they were like in like a Disney movie where everything grew around them, and they just wouldn't let go of their land. Yeah, UT absorbed them eventually.
I went there because it was like the nostalgia of it. It felt like a time capsule into the 80s, and I actually liked that environment, so I would go there pretty regularly on my own. It was like right down the street from my co-op, and I just walked down there for a burger just to get some alone time. Is great stuff. Also, I don't know if I ever told you this. I remember, speaking of the UT days, when I was at TSTV, I remember finding the original tapes of your show, and I think I had like taken a picture of them and tweeted them. This is well before my internship, and I didn't get a response, and I'm not guilting you for that, but I just remember like, shouldn't have done that. That was real creepy.
Oh, really? No, that kind of stuff is cool.
It was it wasn't Longhorn Late Night. It was God, what was your show?
Sneak Peek.
Sneak Peek.
Yeah, it was a way we could get free movie tickets. So we had a movie review show.
Nice.
Weirdest thing, like I have 2 longevity records in my life. Something might pass it eventually, but Red vs. Blue was the longest running web series in the history of the internet.
Right.
But then my show Sneak Peek is the longest running, still running to this day, longest running student-run television station in the world.
Yeah.
Or
That
should
was
be, television show in the world.
That was when I was going to TSTV. They would have this big meeting. They'd say, this is all the benefits and perks you get from Texas Student Television. You know, like there's all these shows. And then like you could kind of, it was almost like a sorority fraternity situation where you would go and you'd express interest. And then they would kind of like pair people down, like, because there's like a limited number, you know. But they would try to crew up as much as you can. But Sneak Peek was still like at its peak. That was the show when I was in college.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just called me to come out and do something for one of the anniversaries. I guess at this point it would be the 35th or Jesus, I don't want to say how old I am. But yeah, they wanted to talk about it. And no, that wouldn't be that long. 1990 to today would be like 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christ. But yeah, I wasn't able to do it. So it's crazy how you never know. Sometimes you put something in motion, it just keeps going.
Yeah.
You know?
We were talking about moving and stuff like that, and I was like, you know, we're talking about all of our different locations we're wanting to end up, and I was like, you know, I always expected that Austin would be the place that I would stay, but then I was like, you know, to put it into context, I'm sure Burnie did as well, and then now Burnie is in a place that he seems like he's much happier, and he's like in a great, you know, different place altogether, and I was like, and he was like probably my age when he moved, and then I realized that I have this thing with my brain where I still imagine you when I first heard/met you. So like in my mind, you're still like 40s or something.
Yeah.
Or like late 30s, early 40s. And my girlfriend Kristen had to like put it into perspective. She's like, he's not that young anymore. Like you're that age. And I was just like, oh,
Like,
Jesus, stop. Stop, please.
you had to go get a free PlayStation 4 to feel better about it, right?
Yeah,
Kids, you
that's
feel
right.
so bad.
Yeah.
I had that too because I just had lunch with Carrie the other day. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I had to tell myself in my head all the time, guy who's run one of the biggest franchises in animation for like 10 years. I'm like, he's not 20 anymore. He's
Yep.
not 20. Because in my head, he's just like, he's a 20-year-old guy, you know? And he's in his mid-30s now with more experience than just about anyone else I know. And I have to remind myself sometimes. It's like, oh, you have your own car. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
it's so stupid, you know?
He was the babiest of the group for the longest time. I came in well after Carrie, and he's younger than me. So yeah, for him to be like an adult carry man, it's wild.
Yeah, and I don't ask because I don't want to put anybody in a bad position. I'm dying to hear Ruby news of any kind. Like,
Yeah.
I know
Viz has
Viz has
right?
had it for a while now, and I'm hoping they're gonna have some news about it at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I bet it would be nice to see those things, go on and have life. Like I was on Amazon the other day and I saw like a couple of our old shows and I was like, oh, that's good. Legacy lives on,
But we're locked in. No matter what happens in the future, the prank thing is closed. That door is behind us. That chapter of life is over.
It happened. That's crazy, man. Those were wild times.
So no more getting anybody back because that's done. No matter what happens.
Thanks for having me on, Burnie. Appreciate it, man. So good stopping by.
Had to get you locked
getting
in.
inside your house, getting a layout of the geography of this place. Really cool.
See where all the cameras are?
Yeah.
And aren't? All right. Gotcha. I understand how it works. All right, Blaine, thank you for joining me today. It is February 4th. Listen, if you get a chance, please go check out the Stinky Dragon website at
Tales from the shit. StinkyDragonPod.com. That's the one. StinkyDragonPod.com.
StinkyDragonPod.com. Check out the Kyborg plushie, which is out today. You can pre-order it today, right?
Yes. For
Okay.
I think 2 weeks only, you can pre-order it. So order them.
And you're not just supporting Blaine and Kyborg, you're also supporting the overall show and making it possible for other plushies to be made. So you're
right.
doing a service for the greater good.
Even
Just
if
keep
you
that in
hate
mind.
Kyborg, order one so that you can get the other one down the road.
So you can get Gum Gum, you can get all the way down through everybody. Will they go into the other campaigns as well, hopefully?
I think that would be the ideal. I don't think we're on the hook for that just yet, but I bet there's an open door depending on how much our audience turns out for it.
Well, audience, the ball is in your court. You can make that happen. Blaine, thank you for joining me. I do want to give a special shout out to our sponsors today, Alex Murray, and I want to thank the web series Crash, a Halo Machinima series based on a shitty, bad idea that I had about 20 years ago. And apparently they decided, hey, let's revive this thing in 2025. So why wouldn't you do that? So they're making their own. And they asked me to be mean, so that's about as mean as I can be. Go check out Crash, the Halo Machinima series. You can find it on YouTube, or you can find it at www.crash.show. Thank you very much for supporting our Patreon. If you want to support our Patreon, go to patreon.com/morningsummer. All right, well, that does it for us today. February 4th, 2025. We will be back to talk to you tomorrow. We hope you will be here as well.